Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is our first 2023 Moms Agenda Bill training. We are so excited to be here to learn about the Moms Matter Act. And if you're joining us live, thank you for being here. You're invited to say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're joining from. If you're coming to DC, is it your first time? Are you coming back? And if you're joining us on the recording, we're so thankful that you're here, and thank you for taking the time to learn with us. Ebony, you can go to the next slide. So I'm very excited to introduce to you all someone who I know many of you know and love dearly. Kay Matthews is joining us as the founder and executive director of the Shades of Blue Project and the longtime champion for the Moms Matter Act. We're so grateful to have you here today, Kay. And before I turn it over to you, we'll do a little bit of our internal Mom Congress homework. So we'll invite Ebony to go to the next slide, and I'm going to drop in chat here a couple notes for you to take internally today. The current 118th Congress numbers for the Moms Matter Act are listed here. HR 3312 is the House bill, and S1602 is the Senate bill. Coming into chat for you now, and I'll go ahead and let Ebony open up the House bill. This is a link to the congress.gov site, which is going to show you who is already listed as a co-sponsor for the Moms Matter Act. So you'll click on this link and, oh, sorry, Ebony, you got to go back one slide. There you go. And the pink link to 3312, right to the right there. There you go. Thank you so much. You'll see down at the bottom, there's tabs, summary, text, actions, titles. You're going to scroll all the way over to co-sponsors and click there. And that's where you'll see all the currently listed House of Representatives members that are co-signed onto the bill. Now, we do know that sometimes things are in progress or they've written to the office, but for the most part, this is the best record you're going to find of who has already signed on to the bill. So you'll want to take note here of if your representative is signed on or if they are not. You'll want to do the same thing for the Senate version of the bill. So that would be the S1062, which I will also drop in the chat right here now. And that way, as you're learning, you can kind of level set for yourself. Am I thanking my legislator for already being in support of the Moms Matter Act? Or am I reaching out to them to say, hey, I'm asking for you to co-sponsor and to sign on to this bill. I want you to talk to your colleagues about it, and you need to know how important it is for our community. Additionally, I will go ahead and drop in the links for this bill's version last year, which Kay is going to talk to you all about. That way you can know if your legislator was signed on previously, you might be asking them to sign back on and let them know we appreciate your support last year. But it's important that we do it again to get across the finish line. I know that's a lot of information. Had a couple more people come in from the waiting room. So just pause here for a moment to ask if you all have any questions. So if you're just jumping in and joining us, all we're doing is looking up the current version of the Moms Matter, which are these two links in chat here. I'll go ahead and resend for those that just joined. The House version is 3312. The Senate version is 1602. And you can look up and see if your legislator is already listed there. And since we do not have any questions, I'll grab that former bill number and put those in there and go ahead and turn it over to Kay.
Thank you, Crystal, for having me join Mom Congress again this year. Welcome to all of you who have decided to fight the good fight with us and cause a bit of good trouble, as I like to refer to it as. And if this is your first time, let me invite you to take it slow. I have been doing this policy work probably for about the 7 years of the 10 years that I have been doing this work as a whole around maternal mental health. And so as someone who believes in communication is key, it is how we engage with folks that keeps them remembering. If 100 people walk through the door, out of 100 folks, they actually remember us. So My first advice is remembering to breathe, especially if it's your first time, even if it's like your 10th time, remembering to breathe, because sometimes even when we think we know and we have this experience, we still have to remember that each interaction and engagement is going to be different from the last. And so when I think about the Moms Matter Act, we have put in a lot of work. As you may know, the Moms Matter Act is coming out of the Momnibus, which is a big package of 13. But the Moms Matter Act specifically is focusing on maternal mental health in the aspects from the community. So as someone who is a community-based organization and organizer, this Moms Matter Act is important to the well-being for us as community-based organization leaders, because it is strengthening our already ability to serve our community in a way that we at this point need policy to back us. So what's important to know about the Moms Matter Act is it's bipartisan. That's huge. So with the Moms Matter Act being bipartisan, that's a lead in. That's a good conversation starter as well. Another bonus about the Moms Matter Act is this is not our first time. And so initially it was a part of the Build Back Better initiative. It made it for y'all. So we are at this point bringing it back to the forefront. And so what Crystal mentioned about either thanking or reintroducing engagement from your representatives, this is what she is talking about. So if you go and you look and you see that your representative is already co-signed on this, thank them initially. Just say, hey, thank you for your support. But with that, also asking them to spread the word. The more folks are able to engage and know about this, the better we are to get more folks to co-sign on it. So you're either thanking your representative for already showing support, or actually reintroducing them sometimes, because they may be thinking in the past, like, oh, I already did that, but this is a reintroduction. So it's imperative to get them to sign on as well, letting them know who else, like maybe someone that they are in close connect with. That's a thing too, y'all. So in the policy realm, you'll have folks who typically work together, understanding that as well. And so if you're asking for their help in the support, asking them to spread the word is important too, because maybe their friend hasn't signed on. And if they're sending it out and pushing that information, that will be important as well. And so 2 pieces of the Mom Matter Act out of the entire, I want to say this, out of the entire Momnibus, the Moms Matter Act, when the reintroduction was happening and when they went back in to do the different structure, this did not change. That's impactful from the perspective of lobbying and looking at the work in this way, that this is a strong bill. This is something that could actually go further. And so that's our push, because it's been here for a minute. People are familiar with it. It makes it a lot easier as well. And so the 2 areas that the Moms Matter Act are addressing is that maternal mental health equity grant program that will help support organizations like myself, other organizations that are focusing on maternal mental health, get the funding that is necessary to continue to be in operation and offer programs that have deemed to be successful implementation and yield the results that we all want to happen in maternal mental health. And then diversifying the maternal mental health and behavior health workforce is always important. Like that's a piece that we have been working on around workforce as a whole, but diversifying the workforce. So when you can engage with folks who maybe look like you, or folks who can identify with you culturally, actually also add it onto the workforce as a whole, because there are not a lot of folks that are focusing specifically on maternal mental health as a whole. And so this funding programs that specifically are able to help us to boost the workforce, diversity of the workforce is imperative too. Those are the 2 major things that we need right now. So our organization personally has worked on the language and the verbiage around crafting the Moms Matter Act. And these 2 things are imperative to where we are now and how we're able to move forward. And so looking at the 2 focal points, my advice is when you're looking at this, how does this relate to your right now? How does this relate to your birth story, your birthing experience? Maybe what you're seeing in your own community. How do these things in particular apply to you? That will make for better engagement when you're asking for support around the Moms Matter Act. So you got to take this thing and turn it into your why. I think that's the first question we should be asking is what's our why? And why does this bill actually make sense? Where does it fit in our own lives? And since we only have two focus areas, makes it a little easier to tie in those two things. So I'll give you an example. If it was me that was going and talking with my representative, one, if it was someone who had already signed on, I'd say thank you, one, for taking time out to see us today, because it's typically a group, so being inclusive. And if it's just you, thank you for taking time out to see me. And I'd like to explain to you why your support around the Moms Matter Act is important. As someone who is a community-based organization where funding is often limited around community support, this act being passed will actually support the long-term efforts that we are already putting into the community and will assure that we continue to exist and that we are not an organization that is here today and gone tomorrow. This will also help us with our training efforts to continue to be a part of the workforce solutions, diversifying and inclusion in the workforce as a whole when it comes to people of color. This is why the Moms Matter Act is important to me and why we need such support to continue to move that forward. See, that was under 2 minutes, y'all. That would be like straight to the point. Could hand them the information, go from there. So there were some touch points there. There was my personal experience, what I may have already interacted and seen with them, like they've already signed. So I thank them, or asking them, but giving them the backup. So especially if you're talking to a staffer. So if this is a staffer has to go back and take that information to someone, we want to be crystal clear and to the point in that short amount of time. So getting straight to the point, clicking on the links that Crystal and Emily have provided is going to be important for that background information. But I personally think that the Moms Matter Act is one of those easier pushes because we've been here before. And I really do feel like this time around, we're going to get a lot further than we have in the previous years. So this is an easy push. I want to stop talking and answer any questions that you may have. So please drop them in the chat so myself, Crystal, and team can answer them.
Thanks so much, Kay.
Yes.
That's greatly appreciated. This is the year for Moms Matter. I know it.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Kelly did ask in the chat, can we explain what co-sponsoring means? And yes, Kelly, just for the basic overview, if you see a little asterisk next to a member's name on that congress.gov site, that means they were an original co-sponsor, which means that before the bill was introduced, they had already signed their name to it saying, I endorse this bill and support this legislation. Kind of puts them as, aside from the author of the bill, it makes them seen as one of the leaders of the bill. And then when we're asking them to co-sponsor, we're asking them to endorse the bill publicly and say that they support it. Also signals to their colleagues that they see the merit in the bill for their district and is someone that can be spoken to about the bill as well. So essentially, they're not only saying, I won't hold it up in my committee, I'll also give it my endorsement and want to be listed as someone who supports the bill. Real wordy way of answering that, but who else has a question about the Moms Matter Act? And I'll say, Kay, when you were giving us the overview, one of the things I was thinking of is, you talk about your community and the service to the community that you offer. If you all want to look up statistics for your district that are specific to the area that your representative serves, or to your state, if you're speaking to your senator, there's some really great maternal mental health stats. Not great, they're not great at all. They're terrible statistics, but they are widely available and well studied, and you can explain, how your area or your state is impacted and how this bill will serve everyone in your community for the better. Hi, Heather. We'll be providing handouts and quick points to refer to again this year. Yes, absolutely. So we'll send out the link to this recording along with the slides that have links, and I'll go ahead, and I don't think I dropped that one pager in that you referred to, Kay. So I will quickly go back in and put that in the chat.
Hey, can I ask another question really quick
Of course.
while I'm here? Okay, and this is totally unique to me, I recognize, but my representative steps down like the week before we get there. So in that case, should I be visiting other representatives in my state, or like what's the protocol in this scenario?
It's a really, really good question. And I will tell you that internally, we don't have a protocol. We have seen this happen a couple times where hasn't been reelected or is retiring, things of that nature. I know that there's some other participants coming from Utah specifically, so it would be lovely to have you sit alongside in their meetings too. And Liz, if you're on and you can hear me, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but if you have an idea here that I haven't already shared, or a thought of how we can approach this, because the other thing I'm thinking of, if it's great to meet with the staffers because they generally tend to switch offices. And so you might be establishing a relationship with that staffer in the office and say, hey, I understand that you may not be able to do much during this Congress, but I'd love to let you know that this issue is important to me, and how can I stay on your radar for the next office that you go to? Or looking to get an introduction to the next person who's coming into that office. The staff changes often, as you know, Heather, so that just a couple ways to lay a good foundation for the people that will still be on the Hill. Yes, Heather just asked another question in the chat. Can you send me the contacts of who's coming from Utah? So you'll be getting, if you're in a state that has more than one person coming from, we are going to put you in groups for your Senate meetings, and you will get an email introducing you to everybody else that's coming from your state, hopefully by the end of the week. Standard registration does end tomorrow, I believe. There is late registration opportunities as well. But we're going to try to get those state groups established as soon as possible so you all can start talking to each other.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for the great question, Heather. Does anyone else? Oh, here we go. How long does it usually take for the scheduler to respond regarding setting up the meeting? I called. They said to email, but I haven't heard back yet. Really good question. Kelly Kay, you're an expert at the DC stuff too. I was going to say, it's usually just like anything else, follow up after 2 or 3 days. You may call again and just leave another quick message. Hey, I know you all are busy. I'm really excited about my trip coming up in just 3 weeks. Can you please let me know, or let me know that this is still in the works? It might just be a lot of consistent follow-up.
I was gonna say that part is, so don't think you're bugging them or that you're calling too much. That typically lights a little fire under them to get it done. So definitely don't think you're bothering them. Call as much as you need to get what it is that you need. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless their day is totally chock full, they're going to do whatever they can. You're making the trip out there. They're going to do whatever they can to get you in their office. So please continue to follow up with them. And like Kay said, just know you're not bugging them. They just have 1,000 things on their plate, and this is what's the priority to you. So let them know and be heard. Do we have any other questions specific to meetings or the Moms Matter Act, either one? Kay, is there financial information available for the Moms Matter Act? Is there a fiscal ask tied to this, or?
Not as of right now. So that could be updated at any time, but as of right now, no.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Well, if anything comes up, let us know. We look forward to staying in touch. Again, we'll send out a copy of the slides, which have links to both last year and this year's version of the Moms Matter Act. It has a link to that fact sheet that Kay referenced. And we invite your questions at any time. We will be having another bill training later this week on Thursday. And I will quickly put another link in the chat here to our Mom Congress member page. That's where we'll be updating these quick little 30-minute sessions that we're going to be recording for each of the bills. So you'll see they'll just be populated on the calendar. All members should also receive a calendar invitation for each one of those, and then they'll be available on the YouTube playlist for your 2023 advocacy training guide.
I would like to ask, I will be there in DC with you. So if you see me and you think about something, feel free to stop me and ask.
That's so exciting, Kay. I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to get a hug. Very excited for that. But this is the year for Moms Matter, and we're thankful for your time and expertise and dedication, Kay. Thank you for being here with us and being in DC with us, and look forward to talking. Oh, and thank you so much. Ebony just brought up our slides again, and that's one more link I want to share with you all, that Becca, who a lot of you know from either the Mom Congress team or her work with Preeclampsia Foundation and Mama's Voices, is going to be available for one-on-one meetings. So as you go through these trainings and you're really digesting the information about the bills, if you would like to schedule a session to work on relating your personal story or getting some deeper understanding of what a bill's ask is in relation to what you're bringing to the table, we invite you to schedule time with Becca. So this link that's here in the slides is also going to be coming through in the chat. It just links you out to a calendar that'll allow you to put 30 minutes on the calendar with Becca. And we look forward to supporting you as you're getting ready to come advocate with us. All right. Well, everyone have a great day, and thank you again for your time. Nice to see you all.
Bye, y'all.